Puedo disfrutar. Suena y la orquesta.
Marley is dead, to begin with. There is no doubt whatsoever about this. The register of his burial is signed by the clergyman, the clerk, the undertaker and the chief mourner. Scrooge has signed it. And Scrooge and Marley had been partners for, I don't know how many years now. Scrooge was his sole executor, his sole friend and his sole mourner, if Scrooge can be said to have mourned at all. And the mention of Marley's funeral brings me back to the point I started from. There is no doubt that Marley was dead. This must be distinctly understood, or nothing wonderful can come of this story I am going to relate. The firm was known as Scrooge and Marley. It is a bitterly cold, and the fog is as thick as pea soup this Christmas Eve of 1843. Scrooge is sat busy in his counting house with his clerk nearby trying to warm himself at a candle. Fred Hollowell, Scrooge's nephew, is entering the business, trying to pass on some Christmas cheer to his uncle.
Bah, humbug.
Surely you don't mean that.
Of course I mean it. Away with Merry Christmas. If I could work my will, every idiot who goes about with Merry Christmas on his lips should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a stake of holly through his heart.
Uncle.
Nephew, keep Christmas in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
Okay then, well a happy Christmas to you, Uncle, and a Merry Christmas, Bob Cratchit.
Mr. Howell, a charity solicitor, is about to enter the business.
Mr. Scrooge, I presume.
What do you want?
Mr. Hollywell. Well, Mr. Scrooge, at this festal time of the year, it is more desirable that we should make some slight provisions for the poor and the needy who suffer generally at this present time.
Are there no prisons? No workhouses?
Yes, sir, and they are busy, they are.
Oh, I'm glad to hear it.
What shall I put you down for?
Nothing. I wish to be left alone. I am taxed for the institutions I have mentioned, and they cost enough. Those who are badly off must go there.
But how many can go there? They would rather die.
Oh, well, if they'd rather die, perhaps rather they should go ahead and do it, and decrease the surplus population. Now, good afternoon. Get away from here, you! I didn't ask to be bothered with that noise. You'll want all day tomorrow, I suppose, Cratchit.
Yeah, if it's quite convenient, sir.
It's not convenient.
It's only once a year, sir.
A poor excuse. Be here all the earlier next morning.
Oh, yes, sir, I shall be, thank you.
And so they began to lock the office and gather their belongings and leave for the evening. Bob Cratchit's son, Tiny Tim, is hobbling down the street on his crutch, ready to meet his father. A lovely sweet boy of 7, but very frail in health. Father!
Hello, my son.
Father, I've been waiting for you.
Let's go by Cornhill and watch the children play. Someday you'll be there too to play with them.
I feel I'm getting stronger every day.
And do you remember what tomorrow is?
Christmas Day.
And I'm to have the whole day off to celebrate with the family.
Hooray for Christmas. Oh, Scrooge. He was a tight-fisted hand at the grindstone. A squeezing, wrenching, grasping, scraping, clutching, covetous-old sinner, to be sure. Secret and self-contained and as solitary as an oyster. He carried his own low temperature with him everywhere he went. He iced over the office in the dog days and didn't thaw it 1 degree at Christmas. Scrooge always took his melancholy dinner in the same melancholy tavern, and this night was no different. He read all the papers and beguiled the rest of the evening with his banker's book before he took himself off home. The chambers he lived in had once belonged to his deceased partner. They were a gloomy suite of rooms, old and dreary, for nobody had lived in the suite but Scrooge. The other rooms had all been let out as offices. The fog and the frost so hung about the black old gateway of the house that it seemed as if all the genius of the weather sat in mournful meditation upon the threshold. Scrooge took off his cravat and put on his dressing gown, slippers and his nightcap, and sat down before the fire to take his gruel. It was a very low fire indeed. Nothing on such a bitter night. Suddenly the calling bells began to ring, startling Scrooge. It begins slowly at first and then becomes faster and louder and more insistent, and stops suddenly. Scrooge is momentarily frozen.
Scrooge!
Who's this? What do you want with me?
Much.
Who are you?
Ask me who I was.
All right. Who were you then?
In life I was your partner, Jacob Marley.
I don't believe it.
What evidence would you have of my reality, beyond that of your senses?
I don't know.
Why do you doubt your senses?
Because a little thing affects them. A slight disorder of the stomach makes them cheats. You might be an undigested bit of beef, a blot of mustard, a fragment of an underdone potato. There's more of gravy than of grave about you, whatever you are.
Man of the worldly mind, do you believe in me or not?
I do, I must. But why have you come to me?
It is required of every man that his spirit should walk abroad among his fellow men. I wear the chain I forged in life. I made it link by link, yard by yard, and wore it of my own free will. Is the pattern strange to you? Or would you know the weight and length of the strong coil you bear yourself? It was as long and heavy as this 7 Christmas Eves ago. You have laboured on it since.
Jacob, old friend, please, speak comfort to me.
I have none to give. I have little time. My spirit never walked beyond the narrow limits of our money-changing hole.
But you were always a good man of business, Jacob.
Business? Humankind was my business. Charity, mercy, forbearance and benevolence were all my business. The dealings of my trade were but a drop of water in the comprehensive ocean of my business. Hear me, my time is nearly done. I am here to warn you that you have yet a chance of escaping my fate, Ebenezer.
You were always a good friend.
You will be visited by 3 spirits.
Is that the chance you mention? I think I'd rather not.
It is. Without their visits, you cannot hope to shun the path I tread. Expect the first tonight, when the bell tolls midnight. Expect the second, when the bell tolls 2, and the third, when the bell tolls 3. Take care and remember what has passed between us.
And so Scrooge lay in his bed and thought and could make nothing of it. The more he thought, the more perplexed he was. Marley's spirit had bothered him exceedingly. Every time he resolved within himself that it was a dream, his mind flew back again like a coiled spring, released to its first position, and presented the same problem to be worked all through. Scrooge jumped and turned his head quickly to be greeted by a striking female figure with bright red flowing hair in a white robe, bedecked tastefully with summer flowers and a silver sash. Her expression is bright and full of life and hope. She holds a branch of green holly.
Are you the spirit I was told was coming?
I am.
Who? And what are you?
I am the spirit of Christmas past, your past.
What brings you here?
Your welfare, of course. Take heed, rise and walk with me. Do you remember this place, Ebenezer?
Good heaven, I was bred in this place. I was a boy here.
Strange that you've forgotten it for so many years.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Say hello to your sister for me.
Don't eat too much figgy pudding.
Why, that's David Masterson and Robert Estes. Hello, boys.
These are merely shadows of the things that have been. They are not aware of us. The school is still quite deserted. A solitary child, neglected by his friends, is left here still. It is you, Ebenezer. What is it?
Nothing. There was a boy singing outside of my office today. I should have liked to have given him something, that's all.
Come, Ebenezer, we have much to see.
The ghost transported Scrooge again to another familiar place. It was the office of Mr. Fezziwig, the man who had apprenticed Scrooge.
Bless my heart! Fezziwig, alive again! And there's Dick Wilkins. We were best of friends.
Hi-ho, here's Ebenezer, Dick. No more work tonight, my boys. It's Christmas Eve tonight, we will celebrate.
And once again Scrooge saw himself. A little older now, a man in the prime of his life. His face had not the harsh and rigid lines of later years, but it had begun to wear the signs of care. There was an eager, greedy, restless motion in his eye, which showed the passion that had taken root, and where the shadow of the growing tree would form. He watched as the younger version of himself danced with a beautiful young woman, and Scrooge's face grew sad as he remembered this time in his past.
There was another winter with that young lady, a few years after this.
Oh, please, Spirit, do not show me that.
The ghost transported them both back to a dark time for Scrooge, the first and last time that he had his heart broken, all because of his greed.
Another idol has displaced me, Ebenezer, and if it can make you as happy as I would have tried to do, I have no reason to cry.
What idol has displaced you?
A golden one.
Now there's a double standard for you. All the world speaks so vehemently against poverty, yet it condemns the pursuit of wealth just as harshly.
I have seen your nobler virtues fall away one by one, until nothing is left but one master passion, the pursuit of profit. It consumes you.
I have changed my feelings towards you.
But you've changed. You're not the same man. You may feel sad now, Ebenezer, but I've no doubt that you will dismiss the thought of me very soon.
Spirit, show me no more. Why do you enjoy torturing me?
There is one more shadow we must see.
I don't wish to see it. Show me no more.
After this mighty struggle, if it can be called a struggle, Scrooge was conscious of being exhausted and overcome by an irresistible drowsiness, and further of being in his own bedroom once again. He barely had time to reel to bed before he sank into a heavy sleep.
Scrooge! Ebenezer Scrooge!
Scrooge woke suddenly to see seated the ghost of Christmas present, sat upon a throne on a platform, lit with 1,000 lights, bedecked with mistletoe. He is an impressive figure, in full beard, wearing a green robe trimmed with white fur and crowned with a holly wreath.
Come here and know me better, man. I am the spirit of Christmas present.
You have never seen the likes of me before, eh?
No, never.
Take hold of my robe, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Where? Pray tell, are we going?
You will see.
Spirit, what is this place?
This is the home of your clerk, Bob Cratchit. Look inside. He and his family are getting ready to celebrate Christmas.
Children, your father is home. Hello, dear. Did little Tim behave himself in church?
He did as good as gold and better. He told me coming home that he hoped that the people saw him in church because he was a cripple, and it might be pleasant for them to remember that on Christmas Day, who made a lame beggar walk and a blind man see.
He has such a big heart. Come now, let us eat.
Merry Christmas to you all, my dear. God bless.
God bless us, everyone.
I had no idea Cratchit had a crippled son. Tell me, Spirit, will the boy live?
I see a vacant seat at this table and a crutch without an owner. If these shadows remain unaltered by the future, the child will die.
No, that cannot be.
What difference does it make? If he is likely to die, then let him die and decrease the surplus population.
You use my own words against me.
Yes, so that in the future perhaps you will hold your tongue until you've discovered what the surplus population is. Look, Bob is about to make a toast.
And now, dear ones, I give you Mr. Scrooge, the founder of our feast.
The founder of our feast, indeed. I wish I had him here. I'd give him a piece of my mind to feast upon.
My dear, children's Christmas Day.
It should be Christmas Day when one would drink the health of such an odious, stingy, hard, unfeeling man as Ebenezer Scrooge. No one knows it better than you, Bob. Oh, all right then, I'll drink his health. For your sake and the day's sake, but not for his.
To Mr. Scrooge.
To Mr. Scrooge.
My time with you is done. I grow old and I must leave. Remember what you've seen tonight, and that if the shadows remain unaltered, Tiny Tim will die.
Scrooge stood there dazed, his mind thinking of Bob Cratchit, his family, and most of all Tiny Tim. Scrooge looked up at the howling wind, and approaching him, he saw the spirit of Christmas yet to come in the fog. It's a tall figure, entirely cloaked and hooded in black.
I take that I am in the presence of the spirit of Christmas yet to come.
The spirit slowly nods.
You are about to show me shadows of the things that have not happened, but will happen in the time before us. Is that not so, Spirit?
He nods again.
Spirit, I fear you more than any spectre I've seen. Will you not speak to me?
The spirit merely lifted his hand and pointed back at the Cratchit's house. It is Christmas once again, but a year on from the time that Scrooge has just witnessed.
But he was very light to carry, and his father loved him so that it was no trouble at all. Is that your father now?
I've been to see him today. That is why I am late. I wish you could have been there. It would have done you good to see how green it is. But you'll see it often. I promised him that I will walk there every Sunday to visit him. You see?
Oh, no, Spirit. It cannot be. He was so young.
The ghost did not utter a word, just pointed at a group of men leaving a tavern talking.
When's the funeral then?
I don't know. All I know is he's dead, and that's good enough for me.
What about all his money?
Well, he hasn't left any of it to me.
Anyway, it will be a cheap funeral. No one will go.
Spirit, something tells me that the moment of our parting is at hand. I know it, but I don't know how. Tell me, the man who was spoken of, the one who died, tell me who he was.
The spirit points to a gravestone with a name on it.
Before I draw nearer to that stone to which you point, answer me one question. Are these the shadows of the things that will be? Or are they the shadows of the things that may be only?
No response was made, and the ghost kept pointing at the stone.
The course of a man's life, if persevered in, will determine certain ends. I accept it. But if he departs from those courses, the ends must change. Say it is so with what you show me.
He continues pointing.
No, it can't be. Am I that man? Am I the man who died, whom no one mourned? Say it isn't so, Spirit. Say it isn't so.
He points to Scrooge and then back to the stone.
Spirit, hear me. Am I not the man I was? I will not be the man I must have been but for your intervention. Why show me this if I am past all hope? I will honour Christmas in my heart and try to keep it all the year. I will remember the lessons of the past. I will live in the present. I will live toward the future. The spirits of all three will strive within me. I will not shut out the lessons that they teach. Oh, tell me that I may sponge away the writing on this stone. What? Where am I? Wait, what day is this? It's morning. But what day? How long have I been with the spirits? I don't know. But I'm alive! I'm alive! I'm happy as an angel. I'm as merry as a schoolboy. You boy, what day is it?
Why, it's Christmas Day.
Christmas Day? Then the spirits have done it all in one night. Why, of course. They can do anything they like. Of course they can. Do you know the butcher's in the next street?
I do.
A remarkable boy. Do you know whether they've sold the prize turkey that was hanging up there?
It's hanging there now.
It is? Why, then you must go and buy it. Yes, go and buy it now. I'll give you £0.50. Yes. This splendid turkey is to be delivered immediately to the home of Bob Cratchit and family in Camden Town. Here, I've written the directions down, and here is the money for the turkey. Tiny Tim will live.
Thank you, sir.
The boy ran off with the turkey to deliver to Bob Cratchit's house. Would you believe it if I told you that Scrooge went to church that day? He did, and walked about the streets and watched the people hurrying to and fro. He patted children on the head as they passed and questioned beggars, looked down into the kitchens of houses and up to the windows and found that everything could yield him pleasure. He had never dreamed that any walk, that anything at all, could give him so much happiness. In the afternoon he turned his steps towards his nephew's house, having been invited, and spent the day with them, laughing, playing games, being merry and bringing joy to others. Boxing Day soon arrived, and Scrooge was waiting for Cratchit at the counting house.
What time is this, Mr. Cratchit? You are late, sir.
Yes, sir, I am very sorry, sir. It's only once a year, sir. I shall not repeat it. I will make it rather merry yesterday with the family. Now,
I'll tell you what, my friend. I am not going to stand for this any longer, and therefore, I'm going to double your salary. Yes, Bob Cratchit, I am going to double your salary.
Scrooge became a good a friend, a good a master, and as good as man as the good old city knew. And ever afterwards, it was always said of Ebenezer Scrooge that he knew how to keep Christmas and keep it well. If any man alive possessed the knowledge, may that be truly said of us, all of us. And so, as Tiny Tim observed,
God bless us, everyone.
the end.